Welcome back. You're watching Young Turks Transformers. Our change agent this week is someone who decided to bet big on India's rural economy. He basically provides early stage risk capital to those companies who believe in making a social impact. He's pumped in almost 150 crore rupees into microfinance, healthcare and sanitation ventures. Here's the story of Aavishkaar, which was founded in 2001. 70% of India's billion-plus population make up India's rural economy, lacking basic amenities and subject to neglect. This large section of our population contributes less than 18% to the country's GDP. Our change agent saw his opportunity in this challenge. Meet Vineet Rai, a social venture capitalist who's promoting the growth of grassroots ideas and enterprise with his funding venture Aavishkaar. Founded in 2001, Aavishkaar provides equity funding for ventures that not only have a commercial model but also a social impact. An MBA from IIFM Bhopal, 38-year-old Vineet started his career in the corporate sector but soon found his true calling when he collaborated with IIM Ahmedabad to set up a business incubator for rural farmers in Gujarat. It was then that he came up with the idea of Aavishkaar.
I used to run a business incubation fund of Government of Gujarat. My job was to convert innovations into businesses coming out of from farmers' innovations. During that process, I came across this extremely complex but simple problem that's very impossible to raise small amount of capital. And the problem was that if you are going to work on businesses that actually require innovative products, you need to share risk. So somebody has to provide risk capital, and that was not really debt. So the only way you can actually share the risk is actually providing capital that is in form of equity. The problem was venture capital funds count everything in dollars, and the minimum denomination they had in mind was millions of dollars. Millions of dollars translated into 5 crore rupees, and that's quite a lot of significant amount of capital to start small businesses. More importantly, not every person was actually educated enough. That was, he is either from Harvard or IMA or 20 years of entrepreneurial experience to accept that capital. So what do you do with normal people? And that's where the whole idea of providing very small amount of capital to actually build businesses that go beyond just creating wealth for one individual, shaped into form of Aavishkaar.
Financing entrepreneurs like P.N. Vasudevan to start off his microfinance venture, Equitas in Tamil Nadu, Aavishkaar today has a dedicated division, Aavishkaar Goodwill, to manage its investments in microfinance. Investing in early-stage risk capital of up to 2 crore rupees in rural-focused enterprises, the fund has received subscriptions from international institutions like IFC, Goodwill MDC and Blue Orchard, etc. Managing a portfolio of businesses ranging from microfinance, healthcare, education, sanitation and technology, Vineet has an investment corpus of 150 crore rupees. And in the works are plans to invest another 100 crores by 2011.
We have seen green revolution, we have seen white revolution, and I think there is a need of a financial revolution. Microfinance is actually one of the part of it, but then I realized that microfinance is about financing as a debt instrument. It's a defensive instrument, very useful, very important. To make a huge difference in the lives of the poor, you need to create assets in rural India, and you cannot do so by creating a very fast-moving debt product. So we decided to bring in equity as an instrument. And with such a huge opportunity, we thought, you can raise $500 million, $1 billion, $2 billion, $10 billion of funds and you will still fall short. So the opportunity is completely beyond comprehension, keeping in mind the pace of growth that a country like India is showing.
Catering to this growing need to harness entrepreneurial initiatives at the bottom of the pyramid, Aavishkaar Goodwill funds 6 microfinance ventures across Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. With investments of more than 80 crore rupees to create a more inclusive financial ecosystem in the country, Aavishkaar's financial intervention is empowering disadvantaged rural communities in India. So what is it that Aavishkaar looks for in a venture to invest in?
We are looking for a bright idea, or sometimes we are looking for a mediocre idea with a bright guy. Both the things work for us. Until and unless the idea should have an element of going beyond the obvious, going to make an impact. For example, if it is low-cost hospital chain, how would you actually make sure that you remain low-cost? Because tomorrow you may want to actually become a high-cost hospital chain. So that's where we actually try to look for the individual who has that ability to stick to. So we look for bullheadedness in an entrepreneur. We also actually are looking for people who are trying to create innovations in legal structuring. For example, a gentleman is trying to bring 5,000 farmers to own a company that would actually market their produce all across the world. That kind of innovation. And we are also looking at ownership. For example, we have a partnership with Fab India where we actually invested in their backend to create entrepreneurial opportunities for artisans who are actually rich and poor, thousands of them owning companies, 26%, 30% of the companies. And we create value for them by working with them additionally.
Encouraging innovations that benefit rural economies, Vineet's fund has invested in companies like Vortex Technologies that manufactures low-cost ATMs for rural India. Creating linkages to reach out to the underserved regions of the country, Aavishkaar partners with development institutions like Care Enterprises, CORDAID and NABARD to nurture opportunities for more inclusive development in rural India. With more than 16 investments in communication, agriculture and financial technologies, Vineet is providing rural markets access and mainstream businesses newer untapped markets to operate in.
Aavishkaar came in at a very early stage in our development cycle before we had even hit the market with pilot units, and they supported us strongly, reposed faith in our product and business plan, and about $500,000 at a stage which is very early when we need a lot of support, but it is not easy to get conventional kinds of support like bank loans and other things.
Winner of UNDP's World Business Award and the Lemelson Social Venture Award by the Government of India, Vineet is now exploring opportunities to take Aavishkaar India's success around the world.
Aavishkaar is looking to first expand itself to a stage where it can serve every nook and corner of this country. We have received requests from as far as Latin America and Eastern Europe to replicate the Aavishkaar model. We would wait for some time, and we are building a global team which will actually then take us to these countries to help these countries roll out services for the local poor.
Well, here's wishing Aavishkaar the very best of luck with its global plans. On that note, we'll take a quick commercial break, but when we return, a young man whose innovation is digitizing out-of-home advertising. The story of digital signage networks when we return on Young Turks Transformers.